Good morning, dear guests from the nation and from everywhere around the world. My name is Yi Cui. I'm a faculty member at Stanford University. I'm also a founding member of Asian American Scholar Forum, or AASF. I would like to welcome all of you to this beautiful venue on Stanford campus to kick off our first Asian American Pioneer Medal Symposium and Ceremony. On behalf of my co-chair, Professor Kai Lee of Princeton University, we would like to share with you this exciting event we have been planning for more than 6 months, has attracted more than 1,000 attendees to come. And the reason we start this exciting event is really try to highlight Asian Americans' contributions to the nation and also to the whole world. We all know Asian American has really made the contributions, but we remain low-key most of the time, without very loud voice. In the environment of drastically change the whole world, whether it's climate, whether it's AI, whether it's geopolitics, whether it's the new requirement of better human health, we think Asian American can make even bigger contributions. We hope this event will bring together not only Asian American, but also our collaborators, our whole network of ecosystem, to come together to discuss very important topics, particularly in the area of energy, climate, AI, and human health. This event has attracted not only academia, but also industry leaders, but also government policy makers to come together. This is particularly very exciting to me. So this event is organized by ASF, also co-organized by Stanford Asian Activity Centers, and with significant help from the Stanford Dow School of Sustainability, from the Precourt Institute for Energy, and from the Stanford Sustainability Accelerator. This event is also co-led by Kylie, myself, and also the president of AASF and the executive director of Gisela Kusakawa. This whole day event consists of multi-panels as well as the fireside chat, followed by the highlight of today in the afternoon. That's the Asian American Pioneer Medal Ceremony. And also followed by, last not least, is a high school competition. That's our future. With that, let me pass the podium to Gisela Kusakawa, our executive director, to introduce our keynote opening remark, Congresswoman Judy Chu. Let's welcome Gisela to the stage.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Yi Cui, for the introductions. I want to give everyone here a warm welcome. And can we just give a round of applause to Professor Yi Cui and Professor Kai Lee, our co-chairs for today's event. Now, today is a day of celebration for our American history and the Asian Americans who made such significant contributions to our country. It is fitting then that we have here for our opening remarks to kick off our celebrations Representative Judy Chu, an Asian American pioneer in her own right, being the first Chinese American woman elected to Congress in history. Representative Judy Chu is the chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, which has grown tremendously to 77 Congress members under her over decade-long leadership. She has been a critical champion for Asian American and scholar communities, and it has been such one of my greatest privileges to see her leadership over the years. On behalf of the Asian American Scholar Forum, we thank you, Chair Chu, for having stood up for the communities represented here today from the very beginning. We live in a safer and more inclusive America because of your tireless leadership, integrity, and courage. If we can give Representative Judy Chu a warm welcome.
Good morning. I'm Congressmember Judy Chu from California's 28th District in Southern California. And as chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, or what we call CAPAC, I'm thrilled to be here today with the Asian American Scholar Forum for the Asian American Pioneer Medal Symposium and Ceremony. Let me start by thanking Gisela Kusakawa, AASF's Executive Director, who I've worked with for many years in so many critical efforts to protect our scholar community. I also want to thank Symposium Committee Chairs, Professor Yi Cui and Professor Cui for this important gathering to lift up Asian American pioneers. The Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus consists of 77 members of Congress that advocate for the voices of Asian Americans across the nation on Capitol Hill. Because we are in Congress, we have a seat at the table to advocate for the rights and needs of our communities. And to do that, we rely on incredible partners like AASF, who in such a short time, 3 years ago when it incorporated, has grown in stature and recognition and has been instrumental in speaking up for our community's civil rights, especially on harmful anti-Asian rhetoric and pushing back against racist programs that have harmed Asian American academics. It was this last Tuesday that I attended a press conference for Dr. Franklin Tao, an award-winning professor of chemistry at the University of Kansas, who was the first academic prosecuted under the China Initiative. On August 2019, a squad of FBI agents arrested Dr. Tao on 4 charges that he was hiding ties to Kansas throughout his research, implying that he was a spy for China. Because of this, the University of Kansas fired him from his job. He had to fight for justice for 5 long years, resulting in nearly $2.3 million in legal fees. Without pay from the university, Dr. Tao and his family had to turn to online fundraising and borrowing money from friends and family. I will never forget his wife's tears as she talked about having to work 2 jobs and how her family almost came to ruin. But thank goodness, Dr. Tao never gave up. In 2022, a federal judge threw out 3 of the convictions, and finally, just 2 weeks ago, the 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals overturned Dr. Tao's final conviction, and now he is fully exonerated. While we celebrate his exoneration at this press conference, we also expressed our outrage at the injustice that has been visited upon innocent Chinese American researchers and scholars solely due to their ethnic background. I still remember the shock I felt when Dr. Sherry Chen and Dr. Xiaosheng Shi first shared their stories with me back in 2015. In both cases, the federal government accused them of being Chinese spies and then later dropped their charges without explanation. But the racial profiling truly escalated when former President Trump launched the ineffective, dreadful China Initiative program at the Department of Justice, which scaled up the targeting of our communities by setting out to prosecute and convict almost exclusively Chinese American scientists for economic espionage. This racist measure was rooted in the centuries-old perpetual foreigner stereotype that paints our community members as never being truly American, regardless of how long we've lived here or how much we've contributed to America. That's why we in CAPAC immediately mobilized around these cases. While we want to stop Chinese Americans from being persecuted and also from American secrets from being stolen, we also know that Chinese American researchers cannot be the scapegoats for the FBI. We held press conferences and demanded answers about the program's effectiveness from the Department of Justice. We held a joint oversight roundtable with Congressmember Jamie Raskin, where we learned that omitting certain information on scientific grant applications was the actual basis for the FBI arrests. So we pushed for the Office of Science and Technology Policy to require consistency across grant applications, which we are happy to say they are implementing. We met with FBI Director Christopher Wray, and then we met with U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland to demand an end to the China Initiative. And we did it all with the constant support and partnership of advocates, academics, and organizations like AASF and so many others who are here today. Through our efforts, Dr. Sherry Chen won a historic, long overdue settlement of $1.8 million for her wrongful prosecution and termination. Through our efforts, Dr. Xiaosheng Shi, Dr. Anming Hu, and the incredible Dr. Gang Chen are back teaching at their universities. And through our efforts, 2 years ago, Attorney General Merrick Garland and the Justice Department finally ended the China Initiative. This program was such a failure that only a quarter of people and institutions charged under this initiative were convicted, with nearly all cases having no connection to national security or espionage, but rather paperwork mistakes. Many were dropped or withdrawn without explanation, but not before ruining lives. But our job is far from done. For so many of these researchers who were wrongfully accused of being Chinese spies, the damage was already done. They all endured years of significant damage to their reputations, their careers and finances, and their physical and emotional health. I sincerely hope that as a community, we will support Dr. Tao, who is now recovering, seeking to return to his university position and still has over $1 million in debt from legal fees, as well as all impacted Asian American scholars who've endured years of trauma due to racial profiling. Unfortunately, we are currently facing multiple efforts by Republicans in Congress to reinstate the China Initiative. Just this past year, Republicans attempted to add a measure to revive the program in a key House spending bill that is a must-pass bill. And that's why I joined my CAPAC colleagues, Congressmember Grace Meng and Senator Mazie Hirono, to lead a call to congressional leadership to remove all such amendments from the final text, building upon the same coalition call that AASF helped lead. Thankfully, we succeeded and stopped it. And because we have a seat at the table where the decisions are being made, we are in a key place to continue to fight the many efforts by those on the other side to revive this persecution of the China Initiative. So let me be clear. We must remain vigilant. No American should have to live in fear that their entire lives may be turned upside down due to wrongful accusations, unwarranted racial profiling, or ugly xenophobia. There is no room for this sort of prejudice in our federal government or in our country. In fact, we should do the opposite. We must honor and value our Asian American researchers who've contributed so much to this country. We must preserve your work, uplift your accomplishments, and protect you from prejudice. That is why I think it is so incredible that you are honoring your 6 honorees today: Dr. Simon Sze, Dr. Dahuang Kahang, Dr. Nasir Ahmed, Dr. Raj Reddy, Dr. M.C. Frank Chang, and Dr. Teresa Meng for their trailblazing work. The contributions that they and you are making is pivotal to America and to the world. Let us ensure that all our researchers and scholars not only survive, but thrive. And indeed, we must strive for an America where everybody in this country can thrive, and an America that values equality and justice for all. Thank you.